The woman sitting in my chair was wearing a diamond necklace I had given my husband for our 10th anniversary. She was smiling. My husband was smiling too. And for a few seconds, nobody at the table said a word. Then my grandmother-in-law slowly put down her wine glass. She looked at the woman. Then she looked at my husband. Finally, she pointed toward the chair. "Get up!" The entire dining room went silent. The woman blinked. "I'm sorry?" Grandma's voice became even colder. I said, "Get out of my granddaughter's seat." That was the moment I realized the dinner wasn't about introducing my husband's new business partner. It was about replacing me, and what my husband didn't know was that Grandma had already discovered the truth. My name is Emily Carter. For 6 years, I believed I had a happy marriage. My husband, Daniel, and I met when we were both 28. He was ambitious, charming, and the kind of man who remembered small details. On our second date, I mentioned that my father used to make blueberry pancakes every Sunday. Daniel remembered. 3 months later, he surprised me with blueberry pancakes on a Sunday morning. They were terrible. Burned on the outside, raw in the middle. But I ate every bite because he looked so proud. I thought that was what love was. Not perfection. Effort. We married a year later. Our wedding wasn't extravagant. We couldn't afford it. We rented a small venue outside Boston, invited our closest friends and family, and danced until midnight. Daniel held my hand during our first dance and whispered, "I promise I'll spend the rest of my life making you feel like the luckiest woman alive." I believed him. For years, we built a life together. We bought a modest house. We adopted a golden retriever named Charlie. We hosted Thanksgiving. We helped each other through layoffs, family illnesses, and financial problems. When Daniel started his construction company, I was there. I handled invoices. I organized contracts. I worked late nights at our kitchen table while he went out to find clients. When his first major contract came through, he hugged me so tightly that my feet left the floor. "We did it," he said. Not "I did it." We did it. That's why I never imagined he could become a stranger. The first warning sign was small. Daniel started coming home late. At first it was twice a week. Then 4 times. He said there were client dinners, construction meetings, networking events. I didn't question him. I trusted him. Then he stopped telling me about his day. He used to walk through the door and immediately tell me everything. Now he'd come home, put his phone face down on the counter, and disappear into the shower. If I asked how his day went, he'd say, "Fine." 1 word, nothing more. Then there was the perfume. A sweet floral scent I didn't recognize. The first time I noticed it, I asked, "Did someone at the office wear strong perfume?" Daniel looked at me strangely. "No." I laughed. "Then why do you smell like it?" He shrugged. "Probably from the restaurant." I wanted to believe him. So I did. Because sometimes love isn't blind. Sometimes love simply doesn't want to see. A month later, Daniel announced that his company was expanding. He said he had hired a new marketing consultant. "Her name is Vanessa," he told me. "She's brilliant. She helped another company increase its revenue by almost 40%. I smiled. "That's great." He smiled back. But there was something in his eyes. Something I'd never seen before. Excitement. Not professional excitement. Something personal. I pushed the thought away. Until the night I found the receipt. It was in his jacket pocket. A luxury restaurant. $287. 2 people. The date was a Thursday. Daniel had told me he was working late at the office. I stared at that receipt for nearly 10 minutes. Then I folded it and put it back. I didn't confront him. I wasn't ready. The next morning, I checked our joint credit card account. There were 3 more restaurant charges, a hotel, a jewelry store, and a boutique I knew was expensive because my sister once bought a dress there. I felt my stomach drop. That afternoon, I called Daniel. "Can we talk tonight?" He sounded irritated. "About what?" "Us." A pause. Then he sighed. "Emily, I'm busy." "Please." Another pause. "Fine, I'll be home by 7. He came home at 7:43. I was sitting at the kitchen table. The receipts were spread out in front of me. He walked in, saw them, and froze. "Who is she?" I asked. Daniel didn't answer. Daniel. He took off his coat. Emily, you're misunderstanding something. Then explain it. She works with me. Do co-workers usually stay at hotels together? Silence. I felt something inside me break. He finally sat down. I didn't mean for this to happen. Those 6 words destroyed 6 years of marriage. Not nothing happened. Not you're crazy. Not I love you. Just, I didn't mean for this to happen. I whispered. How long? He stared at the table. 4 months. I closed my eyes. 4 months. 4 months of lying. 4 months of coming home and kissing me. 4 months of sleeping beside me while secretly loving someone else. Do you love her? He didn't answer. But his silence was an answer. I stood up. I'm going to my sister's. Emily. No. I grabbed my coat. He followed me. I can fix this. I turned around. You can't fix something you don't regret breaking. Then I left. For 3 weeks, I stayed with my sister Rachel. Daniel called constantly. At first, I ignored him. Then his messages changed. I miss you. Please come home. It was a mistake. I'm sorry. Then one message arrived that made me stop. Vanessa and I are over. I stared at the screen. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He hadn't chosen me. He had simply lost the other woman. I didn't go back. Instead, I hired an attorney. And that's when I discovered something much worse. Daniel wasn't just cheating. He had been preparing to remove me from our life. During our marriage, I had worked without pay for his company. Our house had been purchased using money from both of us. And according to the financial records, Daniel had recently transferred a significant amount of company money into an account I knew nothing about. When my attorney showed me the documents, I felt sick. What is this? She looked at me carefully. Your husband appears to have been moving assets. Why? She hesitated. Possibly to protect them during a divorce. I stared at the paperwork. He wasn't planning to save our marriage. He was planning his escape. And Vanessa wasn't just his affair partner. She had been helping him build the new life. A life without me. 2 months later, Daniel's grandmother invited everyone to dinner. Her name was Margaret. Everyone called her Grandma Maggie. She was 82 years old and terrifying when angry. She had raised 3 children, survived cancer, buried her husband, and once chased a burglar down the driveway with a cast-iron skillet. Nobody argued with Grandma Maggie. Nobody. The dinner was supposed to celebrate Daniel's company's success. I almost didn't go. But Grandma called me personally. Emily, she said, I want you there. I don't think Daniel wants me there. That isn't what I asked. I smiled faintly. Grandma, things are complicated. Life is complicated. Dinner isn't. I laughed for the first time in weeks. All right. Good, wear something nice. Why? Because I said so. I should have known then. When I arrived at the mansion, Daniel was already there, and Vanessa was standing beside him. My heart stopped. She was wearing a dark green dress, and around her neck was a diamond necklace. My diamond necklace, the one Daniel had given me for our 10th anniversary. I stared at it. Daniel saw me looking. His face changed. Emily. Vanessa touched the necklace. Oh, this? She smiled. Daniel gave it to me. I looked at my husband. He said nothing. I felt humiliated, but I didn't cry. I simply walked into the dining room. There were 12 seats around the long table. I took the chair beside Grandma. Vanessa walked in behind me. She looked around. Then she walked straight toward my chair and sat down. My chair? The chair I had sat in at every family dinner for 6 years. Daniel sat beside her. I looked at Grandma. She was staring at Vanessa, then at Daniel. She slowly put down her wine glass. Get up. Vanessa looked confused. Excuse me? Grandma pointed at the chair. Get up. Daniel stood. Grandma, please. Not you. Her eyes stayed on Vanessa. That chair belonged to Emily before you even knew this family existed. Vanessa laughed nervously. I didn't realize it was assigned. Grandma's voice became icy. It isn't assigned. She leaned forward. It's earned. Nobody moved. Then Grandma turned toward Daniel. Did you give her that necklace? Daniel swallowed. Yes. Why? Because what? Daniel couldn't answer. Grandma looked at me. Emily, come here. I walked toward her. She reached for my hand. Then she looked at the necklace. That necklace was purchased with money from the family trust. Daniel's face went pale. What? Grandma nodded. I had it appraised last week. Silence. Vanessa touched the necklace. Grandma continued. It was never Daniel's to give away. Vanessa immediately removed it. I didn't know. Grandma stood. You didn't know? Her voice shook with anger. You didn't know the necklace belonged to his wife? Vanessa looked at Daniel. He looked away. Grandma turned to the entire table. Then perhaps everyone should know what else Daniel has been hiding. My heart started pounding. Daniel stepped forward. Grandma, don't do this. She looked at him. You're embarrassed? Yes, you should be. Then she pulled a folder from beside her chair. I hired an accountant 3 weeks ago. Daniel froze. I wanted to know what was happening with the family business. He stared at the folder. Grandma opened it. Money has been transferred from company accounts. Daniel said nothing. Several $100,000. Vanessa's face changed. She looked at Daniel. You told me everything was legal. He whispered, Vanessa. She stepped away from him. What did you do? Grandma continued. The money went through multiple accounts. She looked directly at Daniel, and eventually ended up in an account connected to Vanessa. Vanessa stared at him. That isn't what you told me. Daniel's face was red. Everyone calm down. Grandma slammed the folder onto the table. Calm down? She looked around. My grandson cheated on his wife, stole from a company his wife helped build, gave away family property, and tried to hide assets before a divorce. Her voice cracked. I should have raised you better. Daniel looked at me. Emily, please. I stepped forward. You don't get to ask me for help anymore. Then Vanessa started crying. I didn't know. I looked at her. Maybe you didn't know everything. She wiped her eyes. But you knew he was married. She couldn't answer. Grandma turned toward me. Emily, there is one more thing. I looked at her. She reached into the folder and handed me a document. It was a company ownership agreement. My name was on it. I stared. What is this? Grandma smiled sadly. Your husband never told you because he hoped you'd never find out. I read the document. My hands started shaking. Years earlier, when Daniel's company was struggling, Grandma had invested money into it. But there was a condition. Daniel could only retain majority control as long as he remained married to me and as long as the company remained jointly operated. If he committed fraud or attempted to conceal company assets, control would transfer to me. I looked up. Why would you do this? Grandma smiled. Because I knew you were the one actually keeping that company alive. Daniel stepped forward. You can't do this. Grandma looked at him. I already did. He turned toward his attorney, who had been sitting quietly at the end of the table. The attorney nodded. She is correct. Daniel's face collapsed. You knew? The attorney sighed. I advised you not to move the assets, Grandma said. And you ignored him. Daniel looked at me. For the first time, I saw fear in his eyes. Not regret. Fear. He finally understood that I wasn't the woman he had left behind. I was the woman who had the documents, the evidence, the truth, and now the power to protect myself. But I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. The divorce became public within the family. Daniel tried to claim that I had abandoned him. Then he claimed the affair was insignificant. Then he blamed Vanessa. Then he blamed me. He said I was too focused on work, too independent, too distant. But the financial records told the truth. And eventually, so did the messages. Hundreds of them. I had never known about them until his attorney was forced to disclose them. One message from Daniel to Vanessa said, once Emily is out, we'll sell the house and move to California. Another said, she won't fight. She's too emotional. I read that sentence 3 times. Then I smiled. Because he had made one mistake. He had confused kindness with weakness. The court eventually ruled that the hidden assets had to be returned. The company ownership transferred according to the agreement. The house remained mine, and Daniel lost control of the business he had once believed belonged entirely to him. Vanessa disappeared from his life soon after. Apparently, she hadn't signed up to start over with a man who was suddenly drowning in legal bills. 1 year later, I sat in the same dining room at Grandma Maggie's house. The same table, the same silverware, the same chair, but everything felt different. Grandma placed a plate in front of me. "Eat?" I smiled. "I'm not hungry." She frowned. "That's what people say when they're sad." "I've been getting better." "I know." She sat beside me. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she reached over and squeezed my hand. "You know what I learned when I was young?" "What?" "People will tell you that losing someone is the worst thing that can happen." I looked at her. "They're wrong." She smiled. "Sometimes losing the wrong person is how you finally find yourself." My eyes filled with tears. "I thought I lost 6 years." Grandma shook her head. "No." She pointed toward the window. "You learned how strong you are." I looked outside. The sun was setting over the trees. For the first time in months, I felt peaceful. A few weeks later, I launched my own consulting company. The skills I had developed while helping Daniel build his business were finally mine. I hired 2 employees, then 5, then 12. Within 18 months, I was running a successful company of my own. And I made one promise to myself. I would never again make myself smaller so someone else could feel bigger. Daniel eventually sent me a letter. I almost threw it away, but I opened it. It said, "Emily, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I thought I was losing my freedom when I lost you. Now I realize I was losing the best person who ever stood beside me. I destroyed something I spent years building. I'm sorry." I read it once. Then I folded it. I didn't respond, because forgiveness doesn't always require a conversation. Sometimes forgiveness means refusing to carry the anger anymore. I didn't need Daniel to suffer. I didn't need Vanessa to apologize. I didn't need anyone to admit I had been right. I simply needed to move forward. Months later, Grandma hosted another family dinner. Before everyone sat down, she walked toward me. She pulled out my chair. Then she smiled. "Your seat." I laughed. "Grandma, you don't have to do that." "Yes, I do." She looked around the room. This family forgot something important. Everyone became quiet. Grandma put her hand on my shoulder. "A seat isn't valuable because of where it is." She looked at me. "It is valuable because of the person who earned the right to sit in it." Then she nodded toward the chair. "Sit down, Emily." I sat. And for the first time, I understood something. The mistress had taken my seat. My husband had tried to erase me. My family had watched me walk away with nothing but my dignity. But they had all forgotten one thing. You can take someone's chair. You can take their jewelry. You can take their house. You can even take their husband. But you cannot take away a person's worth. And sometimes, the most powerful revenge isn't destroying the people who hurt you. It's building a life so beautiful that you no longer care what happened behind you. I looked around the table. Grandma was smiling. The food was warm. The room was filled with laughter. And my chair was exactly where it belonged. Not because it had always been mine, but because after everything I had survived, I finally understood that I belonged there too. "And Grandma Maggie?" She raised her glass. "To new beginnings." Everyone raised theirs. I smiled. "To knowing your worth." And for the first time in 6 years, I believed every word.